Hey everybody, how's it going? It's me, Captain Energy. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to go over one of the two synthesizers that were released by Korg this past week as VSTs. In my recollection, this is the first time a manufacturer of synthesizers has released a hardware synthesizer not that long before they released a software version of that same synthesizer. There have been cases where there have been VSTs that allow you to control a synth, like for example with the montage and such, but I have not seen a full functional VST released of a synthesizer that is current, not a remake of a synthesizer from back in the day or whatever. This is a brand new synth that they released maybe a year ago, maybe a few months back, I can't remember exactly, but about a year ago, I guess. And 1 year later, they're introducing the VST version of that synthesizer at 20% of the cost of the hardware, which is currently still being sold. Now, I'm not sure what the reason for this happening was, whether it was a situation with a chip manufacturer situation where they couldn't get more chips to keep making them, if they just decided that it was a good idea to release it as a VST because they were missing out on certain markets, or what. But whatever the reason, I am very excited to do this. So let's take a look. Today we're going to look at the OpSix, which is their FM synthesizer. Let's get into it and see what you think. All right, so here we are in Cubase, and we've got OpSix open. This is what you will see when you first open OpSix. Okay, I'm going to go through this section by section, just kind of high level everything, and leave the creating sounds up to you. This is just to give you a look at the interface, just so you get an idea of what's happening. I will make a separate video later showing how this thing sounds. I may just use it to create a project and go from there. Let's take a look. So when we get in here, you can see up top that we have 6 operators, these sine waves right here. Each of these operators can either modulate the carrier, which is the sound, or if they're red, that means it's an out for the carrier, like an audio out. So 1 and 3 play the sounds that are modulated, starting with carrier 1 exports what's modulated from carrier 2 to 1, and then we have something of a loop here going on, 6, 5, 4, and that comes out at 3. Okay, makes sense. Basically, I'm not an FM god, just so you know. I'm going over this just for the interface right now. What I would recommend is checking out videos by Dom Segalis. He's kind of the man, the myth, the legend when it comes to FM. I love Dom, and Dom knows who I am, sort of. So if you do check out his videos, please let him know that I sent you. I would love for him to know who I am. More so, he knows who I am from watching his videos, but he doesn't know who I am on a personal level. Hopefully, maybe we can collab on something someday, he and I. That would be amazing. So here we have our sine waves. Right? They're all sine waves right now. There are, right here, we have 23 other sine waves you can choose from. Okay, so if I pick square wave, and you can see right now, oscillator number 2 right here, though it's feeding into 1, isn't doing anything because the level is 0. If I crank this, put the 0 up, you can see how the oscillator look changes right here. You can see how it sounds different over here. Isn't that cool? It's just really a very intro. You can change the ratio of the modulation right here. All right, we have width control right here and feedback. Up top right here, if you click FM, you will notice that there are different kinds of modulation you can choose here. So I'm going to go change this from FM to a filter. Change this back to FM actually. You can see down here, the type of filter is here. We can control the mix, cut off from resonance. This changes based on what these are. So if I hit wave fold, for example, Here we have effects. I can choose the different kinds of effect right here. Drive, maybe. All right, so we haven't even left the first part of the screen here, okay? Next we have pitch. Over here we can control how each oscillator or operator is tuned. Ignore ratio right now up here. Oh, one thing about ratio that I forgot to mention, I apologize, is the lock right here. If I click the lock, if it's locked, you are locked to this pitch, okay, or this many hertz. Now, this can be useful in some cases where maybe I'm using this over here, or if I were doing drums, it'd be really cool to be able to lock it to a pitch so that the drums wouldn't change pitch as I was playing them, because I could technically have up to 6 different drums depending how I created my patch. In some cases where you want to play the sounds like as a keyboard, you definitely want to have it unlocked so that it steps to the key and plays the correct pitch. All right, so here we go. Pitch. We have, let's see, this is your sense, this is your fine, and here's transpose. To change your transposition, it's up to one octave up and 1 octave down, and 12 steps, so you have all the notes in between. You just hold your mouse over it, drag up or down. Okay, so up to 12, negative 12, or positive 12. And I'm going to put back to 0. Here's our pitch modulation. And we have different ways that we can configure this. I'd recommend you read the manual on this type of thing, because this is it can be somewhat complicated depending what you want to do. Like I can take the modulation wheel and tell it to affect the envelope generator, and then I can put up the strength here. Let's see how that did. Pitch. Yeah, that's because I'm using my modulation wheel, which is kind of weird because you expect modulation wheel to put modulation, but you can use it for different things here. Also, we have velocity down here, which a couple things I didn't mention, by the way, that I'll show you real quick. Up top here is unison and detune. If you have unison on, you can pick the number of voices that are unison up to 8. Same thing, click and drag the number. You won't hear anything unless they're detuned. It's your typical detune. Also, I didn't mention this is like a master volume. And right here we have randomize, which if you click this will randomize all the parameters on your sound to give you something new. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. It depends on what you're looking for. The patch browser is right up here. Okay, so if I click this patch browser, it drops down. Right now I'm set to user and all user, but if I hit all, it will show all of the patches that are available here for this synth. Or I can pick a category. So I can say I want the factory patches, and I want all the keyboard factory patches, or all the fast synth patches. They have several categories down here, including templates, which, I'm going to go to all in templates, will get you started on making your own sounds. Okay, so if you want like an FM sync type sound, you can start with this template right here, and it will give you a head start, a little bit of a jump in with a sound that you can tweak and make your own. There's everything in here, leads, basses, bell decays, which bells, by the way, I gotta say, if you're an FM synth fan, you know that hit type sounds like that type of thing, bells, that's any metallic-y sound, FM is just so good for generating those kind of sounds. Anyway, all right, so that's the browser. And to save your own sounds, just hit the little floppy disk here. And right over here on the right, we have the little meatball menu. This little meatball menu, it looks like 3 little meatballs. That's what they call it. Some people call it the dot menu, but it's actually, by the way, a little fun fact for you. Because of meatball subs having meatballs in them, like 1, 2, 3 little meatballs in a meatball sub, that is why they call it a meatball menu, much like they call the other one the hamburger menu, where it has the 1, 2, 3 stripes, like a bun, a burger, or a bun. This is the meatball menu. Anyway, settings. That's where you find your settings. So if you are tweaking this to work, right now I'm in a DAW, so it's sync on to DAW. You've got receive controls. It's a little different if you're running it standalone, but you can tweak it in here.
Here's access to the manual. If you want to read the manual, it'll pop up online. You need web access to get to this, but the manual is there. And I've started to look through it a lot. It's a really good manual, really well written. Korg always does an excellent job with their manuals. Korg and Yamaha, I have never had a problem understanding what they're trying to talk about in the manuals. Also, we have size. Now, this may be of a different level of use to different people. For example, that's way too small for me right there. I couldn't even tell you what's happening right now. But maybe that's too big for you. I don't know. So you can pick your size here. There's a few different sizes to choose from. On to other things, bigger and better things to cover here. Aside from so we've covered the operators. For algorithms, if you go right over here, I forgot to actually mention this, I think. There are 40 different algorithms that you can choose from pre-made. You can also create your own algorithms using this grid system. I haven't 100% figured this out yet, but what I have figured out is that if you click these arrows, it makes your operator into an oscillator, which makes it generate sound. That's creepy. But yeah, so other than that, it's something to do with the operators. Each of these represents an operator or an oscillator, and you put a percentage type thing in here up to 100%, how much they're affecting things. Mess with that a little bit. I think you will find that very useful if you're an FM sound person. By the way, the INIT patch it does come up, but I saved it as INIT just so I'd be able to get back to it quick, because I find it helpful to be able to just jump to it. All right, so we went through pitch modulation. Here's your level modulation. We have velocity affecting level. So soft velocity, soft volume, hard velocity, hard volume. If it's all the way down to 0, it's just kind of flat on velocity. Let's see, we have an LFO that we can use down here. Tell the modulation wheel affects the LFO, which plays with the velocity a little bit. Kind of gives you a little bit of a rotary speaker feel. All right, so let's go down further. Envelope. We've got our envelopes for each sound, of course. You want to do a pad, you want a soft intro, you want to do something percussive, you want a hard intro. Depending how you want it to fade out at the end, you tweak your release. That's all the usual envelope type stuff. Here's key tracking. Now this can be useful because you can actually set it up to key track sounds differently per oscillator, which is neat because if you're doing a drum kit of some type, maybe you want to break it down so that there's only one key that triggers each sound. Well, this is where you would set that up. All right, so that covers basically the top of the screen. One thing we didn't get, actually, let me show you real quick, is this right here. See where I'm pointing, this little white space? You can see your sound there. Give you an idea of what's happening when you hit a key. So you kind of know what you're dealing with as far as on the spectrum for equalizing and such. Down here in the bottom part of the screen, the gray, darker gray, we're on the sound menu right now. Now this part switches from tabs on the left to kind of tabs on the top, which is interesting that they chose to do it that way. I thought they would have stuck to the tabs on the left all the way down, but they did not. That's all right. But we have sound, motion, sequencer, motion and sequencer, they're two different things, and miscellaneous random, okay? Sound, here we are. Let's look at this. First, we see right here on the left the ARP, which is the arpeggiator. Now, it's right now turned off, as you can see, because it's dark blue. Light blue items are turned on. I can turn them off if I want to, so I can disable all the effects. All right. If I turn on the arpeggiator, you'll see that's now playing. If I click this picture of the arpeggiator, right now it's on manual. That means whatever notes I play, whatever order I play them in, will be the arpeggio that it plays. If I use the arrows, I can, tab through them type thing, whatever. Or I can click the picture like usual, and it will show me the 7 kinds of arpeggio that are here available to me. There's manual, up, a down, This is an alternate, which just does up and down. And then this one does up and down, playing the highest note and the lowest note will be played twice. That's what's up. So basically, hear the difference? Yeah. And there's a random arpeggio. And then this one's kind of like a machine gun rapid fire. Whatever you play, just plays over and over again at whatever speed you set it for, 1/16. Okay. We have a resolution, which here you can choose by dragging, same as the other items earlier. Up to 132T. You can change how many octaves are part of the arpeggio. We change this to one that actually climbs so we can hear the different notes, not just everything. And we have a gate to control the length of the notes. There's your arpeggio. Here's your filter. Here, turn this on, you can see that there are low pass filters, high pass filters, and band pass filters. You can choose whichever filter you want right here. I'll pick a low pass. Okay. Tweak it right here. Now I can also change the key tracking to see what the lowest or what low notes are, high notes are, and what happens basically right here. This is part of the filter. All right, so over here we also have some controls we can add. So I can say, for example, that the note number is going to affect the filter. So as I get lower, you can see here it's less of it is getting through. As I play higher, so experiment with that a little bit. Here are my envelopes. All right, there are 3 of them. There's envelope 1. To choose 2 and 3, you click these 2 and 3 right here. Just to show you the different, I'm going to change this one, and we'll just go to 2 again. Boom, see it changes. You can adjust the attack, decay, sustain, release. Here's your curve. Now it's interesting because the curve will let you go down, but there's no upward curve, which I thought was interesting. No negative. So I thought that was curious. But that's all right. You know, that's what this VST is going to do if that's what the hardware does. Here are your LFOs right down here. You can choose common sync or voice sync. You can turn on randomization for the phase. You can change your fade and your attack right here. Yeah, you can change the frequency right here. You can also have the speed based off of, if you lock it like we showed earlier, you can base it off of the timing of these patch that you're, or the song that you're using. Here are the different types of LFOs you can use. So we've got all the basic sounds here. We've got 23 of them. Saw down, plus, square. We've got something that looks kind of randomy here. Random, step triangle. Just pretty much anything you could want is here. All right. So that's LFOs and envelopes. Let's go over here at effects. Now these effects, you've got 3 effects. Okay. When I say there are 3 effects, I mean at a time. And they operate in the order that they're laid out here. Effect 1, Effect 2, Effect 3. If we go right here, we can go through and see what the different effects are. There are 30 of them to choose from. Each one has its own interface, and depending which one you have accessed, it will change these knobs and the interface slightly to accommodate setting it properly. All right, so you have all the control right there. I can turn off the distortion. And change this to some other reverb. Once you've got it set up, there may be subsettings here. beautiful. I love this. This synth is pretty awesome. All right, then we have virtual patch down here where you can choose. This is kind of like your little matrix type grid. You know, a lot of synthesizers have this kind of capability where you have a source and a destination, and maybe I want this to affect panning. Okay, now I can change the amount. So you can do some cool stuff there with the little patch bay here. A virtual patch, as they call it. All right, now let's jump over here. Here's motion. Now this part lets you actually change. Let me turn it on first, because if it's off, see how it's gray? It's not going to do anything. When it's on, now you'll see it's playing down. Okay. If I choose something I want to change here, say for example I choose operator 1, and we're going to choose operator 2. Level. See that? Now we also have ways that this can be played. It can be played forward, backward, back and forth. Kind of back and forth jumping between end points. So it's like 116, 215, 314, 413. Get the idea. It's right here. Does odds then evens, and this is random. We have sync to BPM. Okay, so we have legato right here, or length rather. I can tell it to be a 4 note playback type thing. If since the 16th, I can tell this to play for longer. Change my speed. So that's the basics there. Let's go over to the sequencer here. Now if you have the sequencer on, you'll notice that all of a sudden nothing plays. Why is that? Because I have no notes set. It wants notes to be set here. You can change velocity here, gate amount, so you can have different notes that have different gates. I'm not doing anything amazing with it right now, but there is some pretty awesome stuff you can do with this sequencer. Just to get an idea of that type of thing, you just jump up here for a second, and we'll go into the patch bank real quick, and we'll just go down to the motion. Let's see, we'll go all, and we'll go down to here to motion right here, and I'll just grab a patch or two to see that you can hear them. That's pretty neat. I like that one. Spinners. MS-20 Polycascade. Sounds pretty good to me. Here's the intro sound. So there's plenty of things you can do with that. I just haven't done anything with it yet. Let's just jump over to miscellaneous random and we'll wrap this up. All right, and then we'll show you also, well, down here, let me mention this real quick. This polyphonic, monophonic, or monolegato, you can choose that right here. Just throwing that in real quick. All right, so here you can change program pitch. This will affect the entire program. As you can see. All right, this is LFO1, where you can give LFO1 a controller that will affect the entire program. And this glide, of course. You have your glide amount, whether it's on or off, if it's legato. Okay. Over here we have some other settings. Here we have a lo-fi setting. Which kind of distorts a little bit of your sound, gives a little bit of that grittiness that you expect in a lo-fi sound. Feedback on the algorithm. Oscillator phase, you can choose to have it in sync, free, or random. Here's your kind of global attack type, or global decay. And then randomize. This is where it gets kind of crazy and semi-useful, semi-why. Random patches. I have very mixed emotions about random patches. Okay. Random patches come in two kinds. Complete garbage and somewhat useful. That can be made more useful because you know how to create patches. The ones that are not very useful are when you come in here and you hit randomize all. And you tell it the amount you want to randomize is like, let's do it all. Go crazy. Give me something totally new. Well, that's the most useful random patch I've ever. Okay, but most random patches don't have that kind of a useful sound to them. You get stuff like this. Maybe it's useful, maybe you can tweak it so it's useful, but chances are, a lot of times you end up with stuff that's not very useful. That's where this randomized selection button comes in. Pretty handy. In here, you get to choose a sound. Say, for example, I go with organic glow. Actually, we'll pick one from a different bank so you can hear something different. All right, here's a comb piano. We can see that operator 1 and 2 are actually putting the sound out. 3, 4, 5, and 6 are what are kind of doing the modulation here. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go, okay, I only want it to randomize one of them or two of them. This is where it's kind of more useful, I feel like. If you take it and randomize a selection, that's kind of the same effect, isn't it? This is where you get to play, though. Anyway, I hope you found this video somewhat helpful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you didn't, you know, you can give me a thumbs down. That's cool. But hopefully you will give me a thumbs up and like, subscribe to the channel, and also maybe even turn on the alerts so you will get notifications when additional videos come out for the synthesizer for other projects that I'm doing. I've got a video coming up for the wave state next, and basically I think I would like to do an actual song with this synth as the core. I'm thinking something Italo disco, because I've just had this Italo disco obsession. So tune in for that. Hopefully that will not be a complete dumpster fire. And if it is, hey, come watch it burn. It's cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me know in the comments what you thought of the video. I look forward to hearing from you. Have an awesome day, and try this thing out if you have some time. If you're going to buy it, let me know. I'm just curious what you guys think of this synth. If you're happy that it's available as VST, if you would rather they kept it as hardware, or if you're happy to have both. Basically, if you're one of the lucky few who has both, that would be amazing, because I would love to know how you feel the two compare to each other, if there's a big quality sound difference between the two. From what I heard of the OpSix at the store, I mean, I didn't have them side by side, so it's kind of hard to really compare, but I thought that they sounded very much the same, and I was very excited to be able to buy this at the price that it's available. And that is going to go up as of April 4th. So please, if you're thinking of getting it, grab it while you can save the money. If you can't swing it right now, that's okay too, because typically Korg has these summer sales, and summer is just around the corner. And I would almost bet on that they will have this at this intro price again over the summer sale, or maybe they'll even include it in some kind of a bundle, like they have their the vintage collection that they have, though this isn't vintage, so I'm wondering if they're going to start a new collection maybe and base it off that. I really hope that they will, and I hope that they'd put stuff in there like maybe the XD and the monologue, that type of thing. That'd be amazing if they'd start to put the current synths available as software. Anyway, I look forward to talking to you all in the next one. Have an awesome day. Take care. Bye for now.